Well, that's fine, but I'm talking about, you know what I'm trying to explain.
No new Bibles.
That's what I'm saying.
No new Jesus is popping up and saying, you know, I'm Joseph Smith and we're going to start a cult in Utah.
Right.
None of that.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
No new Bible. No, God said this and it doesn't, no.
Well, how do you feel, too, about, 1 Corinthians 6 and Romans 1, where it talks about, homosexuals, people in this lifestyle, will not enter into the kingdom of God. They're not going to be saved. And if I'm not mistaken, recently the Methodist Church has started allowing that, and
no,
they haven't.
No.
If I can get articles and bring them to you, would you read them?
I could print you out some right now of some people that allow that, but the Methodist Church doesn't allow that.
Okay.
There's problems within their organization. That's one reason why I told you I'm not really that Methodist. The Methodist Church has a constitution. Oh, I just got that from you the other day. Where did I stick it? Well, it's up there somewhere. I think it right there.
Do you have to follow that?
I have a constitution right here. And I just printed out a portion of it the other day, or typed it up, so that we could use this when choosing who will be leading different ministries in this church. And committees right there. And it says, members of the church council or alternative structure shall be persons of genuine Christian character who love the church, are morally disciplined and committed to the mandate of inclusiveness within the life of the church, are loyal to the ethical standards of the United Methodist Church set forth in the social principles, are loyal to the ethical standards which says that homosexuality is not compatible with Christian teaching, and are competent to administer its affairs, and blah, 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 blah. But that's what we're supposed to be choosing. But you have some disobedient people. You have some rebellious people.
In the Methodist Church?
Pretty much every church I've ever seen.
Well,
definitely in the Methodist Church. So they elected a bishop last week, week before last, that is a practicing homosexual. Will that stand? Will that be able to stand? I really hope not. We'll find out in October as the judicial court meets and they try to figure all that stuff out. But it's really poorly put together in that there's not great checks and balances. So there's not a real good way for them to say, well, no, we can force you not to do it. So if that stands, there will be no more Methodist Church come about this time next year, as soon as we can divide all the assets.
Who gives them the authority to make these changes?
Who gives you the authority to mow the grass at your church? I mean, you administer the affairs of your church, right?
I preach. I mean, I don't go mow the grass there.
Somebody does.
Yeah.
Who gave them the authority? Who pays the light bill?
Right.
So, I mean, who gives anybody the authority to administer the affairs of the church?
You're looking at mowing grass from accepting sin into...
I didn't say that they should be accepting sin. I believe when Paul wrote in Romans 1 about homosexuality, he wasn't condemning homosexuality. He was using an example of sin that everybody already knew. And we don't have to preach about homosexuality because you already know it's a sin. So what he then did is in Romans chapter 2, he said, now you think all those people are evil, and you're right about that, but you're just as bad. And you need Jesus just as much as they do. And he was using that as an analogy to say, you know, in the same context now, I could preach about how meth heads are sinners. Well, we all know that. Mm-hmm. All right, well, now once you get your ring wrapped around that, then I can show you that you're just as bad as they are. And we can lead you into Romans 3, where all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God.
Right.
So it was a foregone conclusion, and it still is in my mind.
But you can't live in sin. You don't agree with that? I mean, you believe that, right?
I believe that you shouldn't.
You shouldn't, or you...
You say you couldn't. I'm a literal thinker. I'm thinking, well, shoot, people do it all the time.
I mean, to be saved, though.
I don't believe that your salvation is hindered on your works, though. I'll put it that way, which is an open statement that needs further interpretation. But your salvation's not dependent on your works. So if you can lose your salvation by your works, then you get your salvation by your works. Now, can you continue in sin and be saved?
Right.
No, not. Yes and no.
Well, it says, shall we continue?
Can you sin and be saved? Yes. Can you continue in sin and not be saved? No. Otherwise, you've got a monstrous God.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've got a monstrous God that's just yanking people around on a chain.
Well, that's a big problem with our society today. Is people live how they want to live, and people that are in positions to teach the Bible sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
And therefore, when they leave, if the ones do come to church, when they leave, they don't